Yeah.
Great. Andre, shoot.
Yes. So good afternoon, everyone. It is of a great honor for us being here and having such possibility to present the company that we have chosen. Our team consists of 3 incredibly clever and highly analytical guys. Douglas Maspers. Our first pitch, we decided to go for a company that is actively pursuing an important topic of our world future. This company uses natural resources to generate electricity, and what is more, they tend to have smart solutions that would enable people also reducing their impact on the world around us. So this company is called SUNRUN, and their main focus is SUNRUN is a publicly listed company. They are listed on the Nasdaq. Company itself was founded in 2007, and it's a US nation's leading home solar company. SUNRUN provides their customers not only with the rooftop photovoltaics solutions, but also with an incredibly effective battery storage, which is very good added value to their product they offer. Their primary goal is to make local clean energy more accessible to everyone for little to no upfront costs, which is how they build up their business model. They also work with a concept of so-called virtual power plant, which can also manage and share stored solar energy from the batteries to provide benefits to households, utilities, and the electricity grid while reducing our reliance on polluting energy sources. Company also has an ambition to bring a reliable energy source to every single home in the United States. So homeowners have backup power if something is happening to the ordinary power station. So as a few times mentioned, you might have noticed that SUNRUN is settled in the United States, so it's their primary market. Very important news regarding SUNRUN was published on 7th of July 2020. Because there became the largest consolidation in residential solar history when SUNRUN has agreed to acquire a company Vivint Solar. In other words, SUNRUN as number 1 representing 9% of a market share, and Vivint Solar as a number 2 representing 7 to 8% of market share in residential company US for past few years. That deal was valued about $3.2 billion, including debt, and combined entity therefore represents something around 15+% of the overall market share. Deal was finalized on 8th of December 2020, which is very well seen in a chart of the company. Market potential forecast. The global market value of solar energy market in 2019 was valued $6.6 billion and is projected to reach more than $200 billion by 2026. And for perfect comparison, if we look at very big markets such as Mexico, China, and India, they are projected to grow from 17 to 25% at the CAGR, which is a compound annual growth rate. When we look at the charts that are on the right side, we see US distributed solar market outlook baseline versus COVID-19 impact, which is a very external factor, COVID-19. Because when we look on the forecast, the baseline, which is black line, was pretty clearly showing very good growth. However, then so-called COVID-19 just appeared into our lives, and we see there is a very high correction in this growth. However, the capacity of installations is still projected to grow. Second chart shows the annual residential solar photovoltaics installations. As we are discussing two main, or as we are discussing very basic market of SUNRUN. So we see that their primary market is in California, and all the numbers of the capacity installed within the United States, not only in California, but other states as well, is constantly growing. However, right now we see, of course, the correction, but the correction is pretty much all around the world. What is also very important to mention that regarding the coronavirus, SUNRUN in their final report mentioned that and also proved their high flexibility, so that the process of installing solar became almost completely contact-free, and also that sales consultations moved from in-person to virtual, and they invested in technology to streamline their installation processes and deploy drone technology. This only shows a very good flexibility to react to unpredictable situations such as COVID-19. And another very important external factor is Joe Biden, a newly president-elect, because, as it was already mentioned in the previous presentation, Joe Biden publicly supports the Paris Agreement goals to fight the climate change. And it's also very highly expected the support of the renewable industry that would implement. So this is a very brief summary of the company SUNRUN. Yeah.
Yes, and as Andre mentioned, the primary market for SUNRUN is residential homeowners, and SUNRUN sees 75 million potential homes to sell to. And they have two segments. The first one is that they're selling their solar panels just as they are, and that is corresponding to 54.8% of the revenue. And the other one, customer agreements and incentives, is basically that they are leasing out these solar panels for people for a monthly fee. So in other words, 100% of their revenue comes from selling, installing, and maintaining the solar panels.
The executive management of SUNRUN consists of 5 people. At the top, we can find Lynn Jurich as a CEO and Edward Fenster as a chairman. These two are both the co-founders of SUNRUN. Beneath Lynn and Edward, we can find Tom von Reichbauer as a CFO, Chris Dawson as a COO, and a general counsel, Janice Steele. Lynn has been SUNRUN's Chief Executive Officer since the start of year 2014, and before that she has had various titles within SUNRUN, such as Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing, Co-Chief Executive Officer, and President. Her main task now as a CEO is to oversee SUNRUN's key business operations nationwide, including sales, marketing, channel operations, and software development. Under her direction, SUNRUN works with 24 trusted installation partners, and it's available for 65 million Americans in 6 states. Lynn's previous business and career record is an evidence that she can expertly run a business. Her business experience includes having a major decisive part in over 6 different companies and has completed investments with an aggregate market value of over $900 million in the financial and technology sectors. In 2009, she was chosen by the popular journal Fortune as one of the 10 most powerful women entrepreneurs, and was later invited to President Obama's White House. 1 year later, in 2010, she was awarded the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award. Lynn owns 1.4% of SUNRUN, making her total ownership worth over $180 million. The chairman, Edward Fenster, invented together with Lynn the business model Solar as a Service. That created consumer demand for clean, affordable energy from residential rooftops. Before SUNRUN, Edward served as the Director of Corporate Development at Asurion Corporation, and he has also worked at the Blackstone Group, completing more than $10 billion in private equity merger and acquisitions transactions. In 2010, Edward also won the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award, together with Lynn. In the picture ownership breakdown, we can clearly see that institutions are the main shareholders, owning more than half of the shares in the company, with hedge funds on the second place. The top 25 shareholders own 73% of the company, and in the top 5, we can find big and well-known institutions like BlackRock, Blackstone, and Vanguard, with FMR owning a whopping 15% of SUNRUN. Together with the rest of the management team, Lynn Jurich and Edward Fenster has all the possibilities to influence both SUNRUN and the whole solar industry. Their both successful backgrounds have helped massively to transform SUNRUN into a market-leading company. And in the future, there is nothing that can stop them from continuing with what they are doing. The rapidly increasing solar industry paves the way for SUNRUN, and in the long term, this will be an attractive company to own and fits perfectly into the portfolio of the investment club.
Yes, and Solar City is a subsidiary of Tesla. For you that didn't know, I guess most of you in here know about Tesla. And they have approximately 16,000 customers that are using solar power to power their homes, actually. And SunPower, which is another competitor, targeting both commercial businesses as well as residential owners. And they have approximately 330,000 customers. And this we can, of course, compare to SUNRUN's customer base. And after the SUNRUN has bought Vivint Solar, they are now becoming the global leader with over 500,000 customers right now. Next slide. A survey done by SUNRUN, 57% of people in California are expecting to have power outages. And with this said, an opportunity for more potential customers with a need to get in reliable power sources exist for SUNRUN in this area, which is where they are active right now in their business. And another opportunity is that the product SUNRUN is selling will save money for people. It is hard to tell how much they will save, since energy usage and costs vary around USA and even from home to home. But the average electricity bill on residentials in the USA is $1,450 a year. And to buy a solar panel that will save all that money every year costs approximately $20,500 at SUNRUN. And in the USA, they have this amazing possibility to save on your income taxes with the 26% 2020, which will then be the discount on this $20,000 investment, which is we think is a huge advantage in this industry. Yes. The downside is that it takes many years until they get the money back on the investment. According to the previous calculated figures, it will take approximately 10.5 years before you get the money back, which can be a long period for a lot of people. And at the same time, you need $20,500 in capital on your bank account to buy these panels. And a study that we found showing that families that makes more than $150,000 a year are actually living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, 25% of those people. And there are even more people that earn less money that are living paycheck to paycheck. Okay. Here you see a price of how much this solar panel cost. It includes both the installation and buying the whole thing. And as you see, Tesla is cheaper. The only problem with buying Tesla stocks is that you don't only invest in solar power, you also includes the car manufacturing part of the company. So SUNRUN is the cheapest alternative if we compare companies that is only focusing on solar panels. SUNRUN, compared to SunPower, have almost 3 times the assets, and SUNRUN also have total stock equity a lot higher than SunPower, which means that SUNRUN don't take as much debt compared to their assets as SunPower do.
Now we would like to look at some financial ratios. As Martin mentioned, our main competitor is SunPower, and which is very interesting because normally our main competitor would be Vivint Solar, but since SUNRUN company was that strong and still is, they just basically bought their main competitor. So it just appeared to reduce number of their competitors. And actually, it still is not that well visible in their numbers. So therefore, in the comparison, for example, with SunPower, if you look at the revenues or EBIT or net earnings, which we could not find, unfortunately, for SunPower. However, the PE ratios is a bit worse than for SunPower. But what is important to mention from the start when I was presenting important news is that SUNRUN bought number 2 on the market, which was Vivint Solar. And the main message from it is that their synergies has a very incredible potential to reduce the expenses they need to pay. So it is most likely to be well seen in next years how the company SUNRUN would be performing. So, and that's actually the approach that we took when pitching our company, because we would like to see SUNRUN as a hidden potential in the future, and we see this great potential to yet to be seen. So that's why we also chose, even though a company might not have that perfect numbers in for example. So that was some.
If you don't mind repeating the last thing you said, you were breaking up a little bit.
What was the last thing then? So yeah, so our approach of picking the company SUNRUN is that we see this its performance in an incredible way in the future, because still we are talking about solar industry, which we see as pretty new one. And as I mentioned, they were founded in 2007. Okay, however, they are already on the market for 13 years, which they proved that they're number 1 in the US on their market. So what probably was the last thing that I mentioned before the connection lost, so that they might not seem to have that good ratios in comparison with other companies. However, as mentioned, we see a great potential towards the future.
If we look at Sunrun's previous annual performance, we can see that it has been great. If we look at the revenue in 2015 to today, they have managed to increase the revenue from $300,000 to over $850,000. That is an increase by 180%, which is very good for such a big company that Sunrun is. The revenue consists of income from customer agreements and incentives, and solar energy system and product sales. If we take a look at the net income of Sunrun, we can see that it has fluctuated quite much, but they have managed to turn a loss in 2015 into a profit the year after and forward. This big fluctuation is one thing that Sunrun can work on to improve in the future. Technical analysis is used to generate short-term trading signals from various charting tools. Even though we recommend buying and holding Sunrun for the longer term, this technical analysis can help us reach and find the best entry to buy and indicate market momentum. Technical analysis can also help improve the evaluation of a security's strength or weakness relative to the broader market or one of its sectors. We are now going to look at some charting tools that are showing a buy signal on Sunrun. First off, we are going to look at some oscillators. An oscillator is a tool that constructs high and low bands between two values and then builds a trend indicator that fluctuates within those bands. From the website tradingview.com, we can interpret that Sunrun is in an upward trend. Out of 11 different oscillators, 10 of them are indicating either a buy or a neutral signal in the 1 month time period. The oscillators that are indicating a buy signal is the MACD level and awesome oscillator. The awesome oscillator is an indicator used to measure market momentum. If we then take a look at the moving averages, there are 12 out of 13 different moving averages that are indicating a buy signal right now. So in a short conclusion, right now is a good entry level to buy Sunrun in a long-term portfolio.
Yes, and I can see that our time is running out, so I will keep this short. And since Sunrun don't make so much money yet, we recommend hold. But if they manage to increase the profits in the future, we will most likely change that to buy if all other variables we investigated are the same as now, that will say.